Why are you slurking around?
Were you watching me out of your corner half moon? Face paint, I couldn't get it off.
You look like you've been crying.
Well, so, maybe I have.
It's like the end of prom.
God, you look different in some way.
It's the hair.
I bought so many clothes this month.
So who's your style inspiration?
You are.
Me?
Yes, I'm not going to lie. My mum kept on mentioning the fashionable guy. And I was like, you can only be meaning one person, really.
Shout out Matt's mumsy. Oh, I love your illustrations, by the way. They're fantastic.
That's sweet. I have to talk to you about the perception of time.
Yeah, come on, let's do that.
Sorry?
Let's do perception of time.
You sounded like you actually knew that I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Well, how did you know that?
Because I'm a time traveller.
So I read an interesting article this morning on Reuters. It was basically saying how 2020 has been such a weird year and it's kind of messing with our perception of time.
I think I saw the same Twitter thread. They flashed up the shapes.
Yes.
And they were like, which one lasted longer on the screen?
What they called, I think, the oddball effects. They show you 3 circles and then they show you a yellow square and then they show you a circle and they're all in succession in the exact same timing. You answer the question and everyone thinks that the square was there for longer because it was the one that stood out. And if you're thinking about like Instagram stories, for example, and you're flicking through them and you can't really tell the difference between half of them, and then you see one that stands out and it catches your attention, you remember it and it feels like it's lasting for longer and it has an impact on you.
In terms of marketing and strategy, surely that feeds into it. We're in the perception game, right?
The point is that we work in macro amounts of time. So for example, an Instagram post, I don't know what the average amount of time is that people look at it, but I can't imagine it's very long. So we're working with macro units of time here, and we've got to stand out as best we can.
I think what's important to note though, when you're talking about short form content, if you're running a campaign, delivering a campaign, no campaign is one piece of content. You've got to think about it more like touch points. If I'm a brand and I create an Instagram story and I run it as an ad, that is not my entire campaign. That serves a purpose for a part of my campaign. That could maybe be to hook your attention. I know that you maybe clicked through, I know that you completed the view, so I can retarget you later on. And what you can do is push people around and move them down your funnel.
You don't put a constraint on a good idea, and I think like we do it when we do campaigns on video distribution or anything like that where we're pumping out an asset to as many people as we can. We always think about slimming it down, making it shorter. Like in reality, a good idea, you give it the time that it needs.
Yeah.
I think that's like definitely in the context of time, advertising is now about making it as lean as it can be.
Not all good content is short content and not all long content is good content. What you want to do is kind of qualify your lead with these short bits of content and you want to direct them to more stuff that interests them. So you might have a 3-minute highly produced kind of mini documentary about you, about your brand. If that's the first thing I show to someone, they're going to switch off.
Our attention span is very limited, it seems, and whether it's humans evolving or is that sort of advertisement and media shaping the way that we now feel like 5 minutes of watching something is really quite
a long time. It's a commitment, isn't it? That's the joke, is that we're just scared to commit to more time because we don't want to waste it, because we're wasting time when we could be watching other stuff. So there's so much stuff now that we're scared we're going to miss it all, so we don't do any of it.
There are adverts that will stick with you for life. Say the Frosties advert that was within my childhood and it would be yours, that I'm never going to forget. But no one that's young now will know what that advert is. I feel like that is a marker by which I go, oh, childhood, I was this age.
They're a hugely cultural thing, you know, they shape a lot of what we think and say. They take the time to explain the idea, and granted, like, it's because there was like 3 TV channels, so what the fuck else are you going to be doing?
Do you think it's harder to work with smaller increments of time? Do you think it's almost like telling a joke where you just have the punchline? It's not going to work.
It's parameters, and anyone that says they can't do it is in the wrong industry, right? But
say I followed your brand for years, a 5-second eye-catching story is not going to tell me much I don't know, whereas if I've never heard of your brand before, I'm not going to be interested in a 20-minute documentary because you haven't given me a reason to be interested. Content length is part of strategy and you've got to use it at the right times for the right reasons. There was something else I wanted to say about time which was interesting, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, if only you could go back in time to the moment that little seed planted itself in your brain.
We've all been in a situation where you've watched a boring film and it feels like you've been there for 10 years. We've all binged a Netflix series in a day and it's felt like minutes. The exact same is true for content. You can watch a boring as fuck Instagram story or you can watch a YouTube documentary. The length doesn't matter, it's the engagement that matters.
If you can see some eye makeup, it's not because I enjoy eye makeup, although I think I like the smoky look. I put face paint on yesterday and I can't get it off.